Okay, so this is gonna be an interesting thing to say. So, when I went to record the next few videos for Pokemon Sword and Shield, apparently around the 10-minute mark, my headphones disconnected. I don't know why that happened. I don't know what happened. But unfortunately, my audio is gonna sound a lot different. I don't know if it'll sound better or worse. Or, well, if it sounds better or worse without the headphones. I personally think it sounds worse, and unfortunately, I can't go back since I already saved. So you're gonna be dealing with audio sounding a little weird for the next two episodes. I have no idea why it happened or how it happened, and I'm still checking to see if my headphones are broken or not. And I apologize for this going forward. So, yeah, sorry about this. Hello everyone, my name is Chow Guardian, and welcome back to more Pokemon Sword and Shield. Last time we pretty much saw our journey begin and we battled Hop for the third time now. And in this episode, well, we're gonna finally get started. Alright, well, so welcome to Route 3. See, which there isn't too much I can really say about this route. Because you can find a lot of these Pokemon in the wild area anyway, so there's not really anyone new that you can find. I do. We've run the Pangems and before, so this isn't new exactly. This is not a new Pancham. Yeah, we've seen you before. We did see some. See a Stunky out there as well. Oh, Stunky's pretty good. Oh, in a game that now has in a region that now has fairy types, and where fairy types pretty much reign supreme. Having a poison dark type can be really helpful. One weakness being ground, and decent attacking stat. That's surprisingly decent special attack, and getting flamethrower and explosion upon evolution, which I think is kind of funny. Because well, it's a skunk, so that's pretty genius that it has both of those, and like it just explodes, so it's just a giant stink bomb. But there is one new Pokemon right here, a Gossifleur. This one, I don't think I've ever really used a Gossifleur now that I think about it. And, like, I have used, well, I've never actually used one before, but but all I can say is they're, at least from what I've seen, a kind of a standard grass type. And if you don't know what that means, basically, it's a Pokemon that's very slow. So that tends to be that's very slow and usually has a lot of stats and like moves. Like as you saw, it was trying to use Sing, which puts you to sleep, and it used stuns for less stun. Or was it? Yeah, it was Sweet Scent, I believe. Yeah, Sweet Scent. Okay. They'll usually focus on using moves like that. And they usually have pretty good special attack. I'm probably actually gonna have to look up Gossifleur's stats just to remind myself, because I don't think I've actually checked on Gossifleur's stats. Actually, from what I remember, it's a standard grass type. And thankfully Zigzagoon leveled up. I'm hoping I can get Zigzagoon up a little bit. Yeah, because he's been falling behind. Yeah, I'm not going to use this Pikachu and Eevee, by the way. If I haven't mentioned them before, I'm not going to be using them, but I will try to get... I am leveling them up because I will be using them somewhere else. But I'm not going to use it for the team. It whirls around in the wind while singing in a joyous song. The delightful display has charmed many into raising this Pokemon. It is cute. I remember this Pokemon being in the trailers. And remembering, ooh, I'd love to use this Pokemon, and then looking at its evolution, feeling like, yeah, maybe not, because I'm not really the biggest fan of its evolution, personally. Alright, let's see what your stats are. You have more attack and you're more defensive. Okay. That's not what I was expecting. Well, you're going in the box. And I think... Well, actually, no. I think there's another Pokemon. Oh, yeah. You can find Zigzagoons here a lot easier. Ooh, a Growlithe. I think that's also a new one now that I think about it. Because I don't remember finding a Growlithe in the wild area, but I think you can find Growlithe. It's in the wild area. Oh, it has 10 speed. I just looked it up. It has 10 speed. Yeesh. Lesion has average attack, well, very low attacking stats, but good special with good defensive stats, with both of them being 60. That's okay, but I feel like there are other grass types you could be using. Like, honestly, I probably just use Oddish instead. Personally, I'd rather just go for Oddish. Especially since one, you get the option of two evolutions you could choose from, or the seed line or the shift tree line, since there's more going on with those two. But I guess it's okay. And I'm checking when does it evolve? I'll go into Growlithe a little bit, but when does it evolve? Well, I actually don't know how this thing evolves, or what level it actually evolves at. Because when does it evolve? I think there's one more Pokemon you can find here. I don't know if we'll be able to find it, but I think you can find it here. Okay, it evolves at level 20. That's not a bad. That's actually not a bad level. Actually, not a bad level. It shouldn't be too bad. Especially since level 20 is actually pretty easy to get, especially in this game. But still. No, so look at all these freaking Zigzagoons. It took me so long to get one before. And now it's just this route. It's like, oh yeah, here's a bunch of Zigzagoons for you. Ugh. And so if you want to use Zigzagoon, yeah, you might want to come here instead. And I just wanted to get it early on since that was the earliest point I could get it. And now we have a Vulpix. Vulpix is cute at least. At least you can get a Vulpix and a Growlithe in this version. Usually I'd imagine these two being version exclusives, you know, Gen 1 fire types. Types that both evolve with a Firestone. But surprisingly, not this time. But Vulpix is very defensive and evolves into Ninetales, which, again, is also very defensive. If then offensive, surprisingly, which, for fire types, that tends to not be a very good combination, especially a pure fire type, since it stays a pure fire type for its entire life. For fire types, they only have 3 weaknesses, but those weaknesses tend to hit very hard, especially ground and rock types. So those defenses really start to make it feel more like paper. Thankfully, it's decently fast, so it'll at least get to do something before it goes down. And it does have some interesting status moves like Hypnosis, which can be kind of fun. And it does get some psychic, well, the psychic move and extrasensory, which is a decent replacement for Psychic. It's not strong, but it's decent enough. But you probably could do better than Ninetales. It kind of stinks because Ninetales is a pretty cool Pokemon, but you're probably better off using some other fire types. You can definitely make it work, especially if you somehow catch one with its hidden ability being Drought, which good luck, by the way, because that is not easy. Oh my god, you sent in Ralts. Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna use Ralts, but I guess if you want it, not like I got a choice. Like this, you can make Vulpix and Ninetales work, and Firestones again are not that hard to find, so you can evolve this thing right away as soon as you catch it. And I just say be careful with how you use it. You definitely don't want, because you'll definitely expect this thing to go down down, especially if it's to a physical hit. It's gonna go down pretty quickly. And then the other fire type, I think probably one of the most famous Gen 1 fire types next to Charizard, is Arcanine. Ooh, pluck, before I even get in that. It's a 60 power move that steals a berry. When that's pretty much instantly better than Tack. That can almost every sense of the word, except for I'd be able to use it less, but still, I'm gonna be doing. I'd rather this instead, just the extra power. Anyway, as I was saying before, or the other Pokemon with Growlithe, you can get Arcanine, also evolves from a Fire Stone. Oh, I personally say Growlithe is a lot better than Arcanine. It has more balanced stats, and surprisingly is one of the few fire types that can actually be defensive, and, well, pure fire types that can actually be defensive and actually make it work. Because it also has the chance of getting the ability Intimidate outside of Flash Fire. By the way, Florpix's ability I might as well mention if you don't want to go for Drought is Flash Fire, which basically absorbs fire type moves, so it basically gets an immunity to fire type moves, and its own fire type moves get buffed. However, if the Pokemon you're fighting also has Flash Fire, then it basically becomes moot. So, if you're raising a Growlithe, you definitely want Intimidate. If you're raising a Vulpix, you're kind of just gonna have to take what you're given. Unless you want to go hunting for that Dream World ability, which is possible, and it's easier in this game, but I wouldn't really try to focus on that, especially in the playthrough. I think you're better off just sticking with Flash Fire. Fire with Vulpix. Anyway, but back to Arcanine. Very balanced stats. And the ability Intimidate is very, very helpful in shoring up its physical defense. And it has decent physical defense already. And it's not that bad. So being able to take a physical blow, even better thanks to that Intimidate, very, very helpful. It is very nice to have. And not to mention it gets some more interesting moves. It can get things like Wild Charge. It can get Close Combat too. Ooh, which I didn't even know it could get. And there are a lot more fire type moves that are physical now. Now like Flare Blitz, Fire Fang. Even then, and just the electric type coverage, because it also gets Thunder Fang, and like I mentioned, Wild Charge is super helpful. Well, I definitely say Arcanine's one that definitely has been treated very well over time. I'd recommend using it if you don't have a fire type. And once again, it also evolves from a Fire Stone. So if you want to evolve it right now, you can try to find a Fire Stone in the wild area, and have it evolve right away. Do you want to know how to get a Fire Stone in the wild area immediately? Well, you'll just have to find out a little bit later. Oh, Sobble got to level 16. Yeah, it's about to evolve. I actually don't want to evolve just yet because I didn't actually use it I haven't used Sobble in a while, so I kind of want to at least use him before he evolves. And this Tyrogue. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. And at least we got to this, thankfully. Hey, Gym Challenger. You looked a real ace out there during the opening ceremony. Oh, but where's Hop? Yeah, I think he pretty much went on ahead. He can't sit still at all, can he? Guess he really wants to catch up to his brother. Oh, I know. Let me tell you about something a bit interesting. You see that building over there? It's a company owned by Chairman Rose. Just past Route 3, there's a mine where they dig up ore. That building over there processes it into energy. In other words, the chairman is responsible for providing the Galar region with its energy, too. Can't say I really get him, but the chairman seems like a pretty brilliant guy, right? Here, a little something for having a shin with me. It's an escape rope. So instead of having to pick up escape ropes, it's now just a key item that you can use whenever you want, and it allows you to escape dungeons instantly. I'll help your Pokemon too. Oh, thanks. I actually need that. The way to Turffield is pretty long, but that's kind of challenge in its own right. Good luck, Gym Challenger. So, we know that Chairman Rose actually owns a company, pretty much also is in charge for Galar Region's energy. Interesting. Seems like the man does a lot. And we have some new Pokemon over here. Now that we're close to a mining shaft, how fitting we find some coal. Roly-Coly. A fire rock type, a new type that was added to this game. And it has the unique ability in Steam Engine, where basically you hit it with a water or fire type move, it'll get a sharp increase to its speed stat. That can be very, very nice. And it can be a nice thing to switch in on. The only problem is that this thing is 4 times weak to water and 4 times weak to ground. So, unfortunately for it, it probably might die in the process. It's because its attacking stats, well, mixed and okay, aren't necessarily the best in the world. Well, it does have 3 evolutions where that you can get. One of the next the evolution to it, you actually can attempt to get. But you may need some special methods to actually getting it. But best we know, you can get it. And if you don't want to have to stick with a Roly-Coly, you have to deal with the Roly-Coly, then you don't have to worry about that. Okay. It also has heat proof for its ability, but that really doesn't do much. It basically it pretty much nerfs the damage of fire type moves, but it already resists fire. I think 4 times resists fire as well. And its hidden ability is Flash Fire, so I don't know why it has abilities that make it immune to fire when, again, it barely takes any damage from fire. Alright. Unfortunately, the thing is, while you'd think it'd actually be a lot faster, it's actually pretty slow. Just like, you'd expect a rock to be. Being pretty defensive. But it does have mixed attacking stats, unlike most rock types, where they only have physical stats. Well, or only have physical stats and only have good physical attacking stats. This one is thankfully mixed. I believe it does evolve into something that does become more of a physical attacker, but you can use it as a special attacker. So the Roly-Coly line is an alright group of Pokemon. I wouldn't say they're the best in the world, but they're also a good option if you want another fire type. Though I'm not using it because the ground and water weakness is something I really kind of don't want. One, having a 4 times weakness to water and ground, not fun. One, especially since water is a really good type, and ground just does disgusting amounts of damage. Even something that doesn't resist ground can take a lot of damage from it. And that's how good it is. Because at least on attacking, that's how good it is, especially when it comes to attacking. And we also found a berry bush here. Oh, berry tree, not bush. But you can find them sometimes on these routes. And I'll say it kind of looks weird on the routes. I'm not really used to seeing these. I could check for a Pokemon, but I like to have these berries. 4 Pecha berries, 2 orange berries, and 1 Ross berry. Nice. There's this TM over here, and it's beat up. The user gets all party Pokemon to attack the target. And the more that are in the party, in this case 6, the more damage it will do. I believe it's based on a certain percent on some of the Pokemon's attack stats, but even then, this isn't really that great of a move. Ooh, it barely does much damage. It's based on
on the Pokemon's attack. And if you have a lot of good Pokemon, well, Pokemon with high attack, and since, you know, nothing is immune to Dark-type moves, I guess that could be okay. But honestly, it's not that great. I wouldn't recommend using it. It is not a good move. Actually, why don't I do this? I have the black glasses. I should put on Zigzagoon. I don't want to use leftovers. Leftovers might be a little too cheap to use, since leftovers, again, an item you usually get later on in the game. Ooh. Alright, this Roly-Poly looks interesting. I think we should, let's battle it. Up, don't want to run into you. So this Roly-Poly is a little interesting. And because it'll have higher stats, in other words, it'll have Ivy, one stat that'll be maxed out. Now, and if you want to know what IVs are, don't worry about them right now. You don't need to right now. They'll be explained much later on. But you could catch it, and it may be, you know, a little bit more special than your average Roly-Poly. Or you can defeat it, and you'll get some watts. The most you can get, I believe, is probably under 300 watts. And so, it's not a huge amount of watts, but it can still be very nice to get. Letters and victory. Yeah, this is a victory. I'm sure you're hoping for, but I don't think that's gonna happen, buddy. You look more like a police officer. I'm a Delibird, of course. I know Delibirds technically deliver things in the Pokemon universe, but why a Delibird? Your Delibird is very bad. It's not very good. Oh my god, I got the healing one! Thanks, dude! Man, I bet you're carrying a lot of victory in that sack of yours. A lot of victory. Alright, I'll take the win. And I think I probably said this before. Delibird is really not that great. Very low stats. Only has Present, and Present is not that a really luck-based move that most of the time is not going to do well in your favor. Ooh, Tearful Look. I'll explain that later. Anyway, very weak stats, and you usually have to use TMs on it, or in some cases TRs. In this game's case, to try and make it a lot better. It's really just not that great. You have a Pokemon, and it's pretty much just, it's solely pretty much a gimmick just to have a gimmick for me. To me, I mean, it really doesn't do much. But now that I've actually battled with Sobble a little bit, it's time for you to evolve. Well, I at least got a bit more experience with Sobble. It evolves into Drizzile. Its hands look they almost look like mittens now that I look at them. Highly intelligent, but also very lazy. It keeps enemies out of its territory by laying traps everywhere. I think I mentioned this in Mega Man 02, but it does remind me of Azui. Tsuyu Azui from My Hero Academia. Oh, let me look. I mean, I know it's a lizard. Lizard, but it still makes me think of that for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's the colors as well, even though I guess because there's more green. The green makes me think of frogs. Yeah, it's probably it now that I think about it. Also, does it have an Ahoge? I need to see this. Hold on. Does this thing have an Ahoge? Oh, and actually, Bashful. That's pretty fitting. Fitting that that's his nature, but it looks like it has an Ahoge. Why does he look like he has an Ahoge? It also, yeah, you can see a lot more special attack. Definitely want to boost it. Go into that. Wait, yeah, he looks like he has an Ahoge for some reason. Dang, I guess he really is a protagonist. I guess he really is a protagonist, even though, yeah, I know, I know it's just a joke in another series. But it tends to be like the hairstyle of, oh, that's new. Ooh, but it tends to be the hairstyle of a lot of protagonists. I guess in a lot of Japanese manga. manga involving teenagers. Hers are young adults. So it's kind of fun. So it's just kind of funny imagining that. But now I want to question: is Rookie D about to evolve? Because it's actually pretty close. Baby Doll Eyes. I actually rather that than Leer because Baby Doll Eyes goes first. It's guaranteed. It has guaranteed priority, so you're guaranteed to go first whenever you get to use it. And hey, we got the evolution of Blipbug, the Dottler. And I guess I could show this off. Tearful Look. Look, this is actually a really nice move to have. Because it lowers both attack and special attack. This was only a move that you could get on a certain Pokemon we haven't gotten yet. For a group of Pokemon we haven't gotten yet. So having it on a starter is very, very nice. It is a nice thing to have. Especially since, well, Drizzle is definitely not very defensive. If you're gonna see Drizzle start to have its defenses show, well, how low its defenses kind of are, you'll start to see that though. We're also fighting a Pokemon that's a lot more defensive, so it's kind of hard to do. And I think this is when it actually becomes a psychic, well, part psychic type as well. Also, if you want to use Bite, right, or you have a Pokemon with Bite, and I probably should have actually swapped the Zigzagoon for it. Oh my god, oh my god, that's pretty good. But if you want to use, what is it? A Dark type against it, just be cautious of the fact that it's a Bug type. But other than that, it's actually a really nice idea to do. And we saw this over here. I'll come back to this a little bit later. I kind of want to save those after we beating the first gym. And yeah, this route was not that bad. It may have took a little bit of while, but I'm pretty sure all things considered. It mostly was a bunch of trainers that we had to deal with. And you can talk to this NPC. Hiya, me and my little sister have set ourselves up as a prop of Pokemon Center service. Not that we asked anyone if we could or should. Galar mine is pretty rough on a team, isn't it? I'll help your Pokemon for your friend. Well, for you, friend. Thank you, that's very nice. Come talk to me anytime you think your team needs a bit of care. Alright, so I guess all we have to do is just go into the mines.